Hello fish fools, Jeff here. So this is my 10-gallon quarantine tank, and for these fish that are in it, today is graduation day. These fish have satisfactorily passed their quarantine period. So some of these fish I got from Petco 2 weeks ago, and others I got from my local fish store a little less than 2 weeks ago, and I added quarantine medications to the tank. It's been about 10 days since those medications were added, and the ones that are in here are looking good. Unfortunately, not everybody passed. There were some losses, but those that are in here to this point are looking good, and I'm going to move them to their new tanks. So there's a good amount of fish in here, and they will be spread out over 5 different community tanks that I have. So I'm going to start gathering those up. We'll just go through them. We have the platies. There's 2 pairs of platies, and I got those from my local fish store. And 1 pair each will go into each of my 40-gallon community tanks. So there's a pair of a male and female gold twin bar platy. Those are going to go in 1 tank, and then this female and the red wag male are going to go in another. And the skunk corydoras, I got 6 of those from Petco, and all 6 have made it to this point, looking good. So they're going to go in my 20-gallon. The rummy tetras, those I got from my local fish store, I got 6. There are 3, so I did lose 3 of them, half of them. When I first got them, some of them weren't looking so good, and they were really pale. These have since developed the red has come out, but still nothing compared to the group that I have in the tank that they're going to be going in, my 84-gallon. So once they get settled in there, I expect they will color up even more and join the group that's in there, more swimming space, and it'll just make them happier there. And another exciting thing is the green neon tetras. So I got those from my local fish store. I got 6. I only lost 1, and that's a good thing. So the 5 in here are looking good. Compare that to the first time I tried green neon tetras. I bought 12, and 11 of the 12 were lost in quarantine, and only 1 of them made it to move to my 40-gallon. That's where these are going to go to join that lone green neon tetra in there. So it'll be cool to have a group, and that one that's been by itself, I'm sure we'll be happy to have more. And there is the brilliant rasbora. There's just the one. I have 1 by itself in my 84-gallon, and I've been looking to get more, but I just haven't had any. It might have been a couple times along the way I saw some at Petco, but they weren't healthy, so I passed on them. But yeah, so that's going to be added. And well, there's the red neon tetra I mentioned before, but that's the permanent resident of this tank. That's going to stay behind. It's just staying in here to keep a bio load in this tank to feed the beneficial bacteria for in between times where there may not be fish in here. And over here we can see the penguin tetras. I bought 4 from Petco. I now have 2. So I lost 2, unfortunately, but the 2 that remain are looking good. They're going to go in my 29-gallon, where I have 3 other penguin tetras. And let's see. There's the dwarf neon gourami. I did just see it up here, but it just ducked below. Yeah, that's in here. That's going to go in one of my 40 gallons. And what am I missing? I believe that's everything that's going to be moving, but there is another fish that I lost, unfortunately. The betta that I got from Petco. I lost the betta. It didn't last. So that would have been my second ever betta. I had one before in my 84 gallon for maybe 10 months or so until I lost it, and then this one didn't make it out of quarantine. But I did get another. So this I got from PetSmart. I picked it up the other day, but I didn't want to move it in here yet. I'm moving all of these out. Once I do that, then this betta will go in here, and then we'll have a stint in this quarantine tank. And from there, I expect I'll be getting more fish to quarantine at the same time. But yeah. Alright, so I'm going to start moving these fish, and we'll show them as best I can, adding them to the various tanks. Alright, stand by. Alright, so I'm in the process of trying to gather up the fish, and something unexpected. There's fry in here. There's some platy fry, and then there's little tiny ones that must have just been born, scattering. See over here, there's one that's, it's definitely not a newborn. It could be like a week old. And then there's some real tiny ones in here. Yeah, so it's kind of a lot of detritus floating here. Because there's a lot of job moss in here, I just pulled that out so I can move the nets through the tank to catch them. But yeah, it's all kinds of movement in here. I don't even know what that is. It's like little... Within all this debris and detritus, there's things that are moving, not just flowing in the water flow, but moving. You can see those like just scattered. Those are tiny, who knows what, if they're fish or shit, I don't even know. But alright, I'm gonna continue trying to catch these fish and move them to their new tanks, and well, there's gonna be some fry that are gonna stay in here and maybe try to grow out. What's this red tetra's gonna stay and the bed is gonna go in here, but then we'll see if the fry will just stay in here. Alright, I will proceed with catching the fish. Stand by. Alright, so all the fish to be moved have been moved out of here. There is still the red tetra. There's a platy fry in the back there. I did see 3, so I put the Java moss back in here, and I was going to not gravel back, but I was going to siphon back the detritus here at the bottom and clean this up before putting the betta in here. But now I am not going to take out any more water. Just the water that has been removed is just what was filled up the bags to move the fish that we're moving. But now I'm cautious to remove any water because there's something in here. So the way my brain works is wondering if there might be tiny little speck fish fry. You see that movement right there? Because they're, wondering if there was like egg scatterers scattering eggs in the the job mouse here, and now they hatched out because they are really tiny. So that's one scenario I'm thinking of. I mean, imagine if it was green neon tetra eggs and they hatched out in here. That would be pretty amazing. After I was first thinking, my first try with green neon tetras, and only one survived out of 12, and then if there were to possibly be fry, see that like towards, watch closely, there's movement there. So I'm wondering if it's just, yeah, some of the egg scatterers, just tiny eggs. There, see that at the bottom over here? But yeah, I mean, could be that. I mean, maybe it's like little water bugs, like flies that laid eggs in here, and like larvae or something. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, could be parasites. I mean, I did treat the tank with medications that would ought to have killed parasites, but I suppose the worst case, it could be food for the red-eye tetra and the betta that's about to go in here. See that? Or it could be actual fry that could grow up. So I was going to, have the betta. I was going to get some other fish because I wanted to get some more regular neon tetras for one of my 40 gallons, and I was going to do that and try to get to PetSmart or Petco in the next few days. And maybe I actually had another species of fish that I've never kept before that I was interested in. I was thinking of getting some white clouds to add to my 5.5 gallon. I haven't showed that tank much, but I wanted to get some more for that. But now I think I'm just leave it as is. So the platy fry in here, let them try to grow. Here we see one. There's one. I think that's one right there on the back. Right there. They've been hiding behind the sponge filters there. And then who knows, maybe over time we'll see these little specks grow up if they are actual fish fry. Alright, so yeah, so I'm just going to add the betta, and I'll just add new water to the tank, but I'm not going to do a water change because I don't want to, if these are little fish fry among that, I don't want to disturb them. Yeah, alright, so let's get to the purpose of what we were going to do, and that's to add fish to the other tanks. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is just go around the room to the different tanks as we have some, see what we have. So, a pair of platies and the 5 green neon tetras. And there's the lone green neon tetra that I have had. It's been in here, must be a year or so. This one you can see is a bit bigger than these new ones, but yeah, it would be nice to have them join up, so at least a group of 6 here. And right next to this 40 gallon is this 40 gallon. So this is where the gold twin bar platy pair are going, along with the neon dwarf gourami, and I forgot to mention it, but zebra narite snail is going in here. I have a tiger narite snail already in here. Alright, and let's go to another tank. Alright, this is my 29 gallon swordtail community tank, so this is where the 2 penguin tetras are going to join the 3 in here. 1, 2, 3. So the ones I already have in here are quite large, and these are pretty small, but yeah. So just add to that group a little bit. And then this is the 29 gallon, and this is a dual stand. Right below it is my 20 long, home to guppy and their hybrids. And there's rosy loaches in here, and a sparkling gouramis. There's one. But yeah, so that's where these skunk catfish are going. Skunk corydoras. This tank doesn't already have corydoras, so I wanted to add some corridor species in here. Yeah, there's the platy. So a while back when I added the sparkling gouramis, and it just kind of like nipped at it, but it was not friendly towards them. But until just now, I hadn't noticed anything like that, like anything they're not getting along. Like the gouramis would be out in the open, where before when they first were added, they'd hide. So I was thinking I was going to remove the platy. First thought I was going to add a pair of platies so it could occupy its attention. Then I thought I was going to just remove it. But now I'm back to the idea of adding a couple female platies for it. So yeah, that is the plan. But yeah, that'll come after. One of the next things I have in mind after I'm adding these new fish to this tank that come out of quarantine. All right, and we have one more tank to check. Here's my 6-foot 84-gallon community tank, and the 3 rummy nose tetras and the 1 brilliant rasbora are going in here. So to join this group of rummy nose tetras that I have already in here, which are looking absolutely amazing, bright red rummy noses compared to these that are kind of diluted red. And let's see, there is one brilliant rasbora. There it is. It's a lone brilliant rasbora that I have in here, so adding that other one. I do still want to get more. I've been trying to, as I mentioned, trying to get more. And that was actually the very first fish I added to this tank. So there was a day when this one lone brilliant rasbora had 84 gallons all to itself, but and now it has lots and lots of different tank mates. Alright, so that's where they're all going, and now, oh yeah, also the horn nerites. 2 horn nerite snails are going in there. Alright, so yeah, now it is time to start releasing them. Stand by. Alright, so here's the 3 rummy nose tetras and the brilliant rasbora and the what I use for like a little specimen container to move them into, as I transport them, move them into the tank. But we'll start with the horn nerite snails, and just because they would, if I tried to pour them out from this, they could stick to the sides, and I can already, so I was going to drop them in, but I can already feel them suctioning themselves to my hand. So they're upside down, they are stuck to my hand, but yeah. So these horn nerite snails, they're I believe a different species than what we know as regular nerite snails, like the zebra nerite I have in the other tank. These don't lay those big white sesame seed looking type eggs like the zebra nerite or the regular nerite snails do, so, which is a good thing, and they are good at cleaning algae. So, and they're, you know, they're like less than half the size of a zebra nerite, but yeah, so we got a couple of those. We're going to put those in. Might have to, my hand is underwater and they're stuck to it. I'm going to peel them off and they're going to drop down. Where was that one? Uh-oh. The Odissabarbs thinking it's food. Hopefully they won't be able to eat it. This one was stuck to my hand. There it goes. Alright. So those are in, and I'm going to pour these in. go. So you can see that's one just added to the tank next to ones that are already in the tank. Disparity between their rummy noses. There's another new one right there. But yeah, I expect that once they get acclimated, they will brighten up because yeah, these other ones look awesome. All right, that's the first tank moving new fish in, and 4 more to go. All right, next up, the penguin tetras for the 29-gallon. Out they go. So yeah, see these little ones compared to the other big ones. All right. All right, skunk corydoras are next. Here they are. Out you go. All right. So first corydoras for this tank. Yeah, that's a good look at the sparkling gourami right there. And I just noticed this too. That is the Batic narite snail, and it has burrowed itself. That's not really something that narite snails do. I mean, these lots of Malaysian trumpet snails in here. They burrow, but funny seeing that. All right. So hopefully these skunk corydoras are gonna enjoy their new home. All right. That is the third tank, and now we're down to the 40-gallon community tanks next. All right, 40-gallon tank for the green neon tetras and the pair of platies. So just looking at them, they are very pale right now, but that's how they will end up looking like once they get adjusted. All right, so let's release these. There goes a few. Platy. Alright. Yeah, as I'm doing that, all this water spray getting on that. Alright, there's the lone one I already had. And there's a couple right there. Alright. Upon being released in here, not, you know, they're pale, but not too bad, not entirely colorless like I thought they would be. There's the new male platy, red-wed platy, and that's the new female. Kind of looks like a plain goldfish. Alright. And last but not least is the other 40-gallon breeder. Alright, the last three fish to move are the gold twin bar platy pair and the neon dwarf gourami, and also the narite snail, the zebra narite. So unlike the horn narites that I did, this one is inside its shell right now, so I'll be able to just drop it and it won't cling to the container. Alright, there we go. With all these other fish in the way, might not be able to see them come out. There goes the male platy. There goes the gourami. And the female platy. And there's the narite. Just as it was on the edge, there it goes. Alright. Let me see if I can get this out without getting all the other fish. Alright. Here we are. So, I've been wanting to get gold twin bar platy genes in the mix. Several times I have gotten a female gold twin bar platy, but previously they didn't make it through quarantine. This time both of this pair is looking really good, so let me get some gold twin bar platy fry and then mix up some genes. And even those, the platies, the fry that were born in the quarantine tank may be her offspring, so there's a few in there, so we'll see them as they grow up in that tank. But yeah, alright, so here, that's all the fish out of. But now let's go check. But the last thing actually to do would be to put the betta in the quarantine tank, so let's do that. Well, there's the betta in the 10-gallon quarantine tank. So I already had her in the bucket, and instead of just transferring her to that specimen container and then taking off the lid and going through that process, I just poured her in that way instead of going through the process of trying to delicately pour her in. But yeah, so right now the betta's in here, the red-eye tetra, the permanent resident, and there's at least 3 platy fry. There's various snails like bladder snails. Still have that narite snail over here. That one I think I'm going to put in another 10-gallon tank. And then who knows, whatever those possibly really tiny speck things moving around, if those were fry. But I'm going to give it some time and see if they grow to be noticeable or if they are actually bugs. I don't even know. So if you're familiar, ever seen anything like that, or familiar with maybe like egg scattering fish, if those could have been actual fry. But yeah, leave a comment if you do know what you think those might be. That'd be great. Appreciate that. And yeah, so I'm going to hold off on getting any other new fish. So usually when I would get new fish, I would quarantine them all together, but I'm not going to do that because of the fry potential situation. Yeah, so there's the betta. She's looking good. A little darker red than the previous ones that I had. But alright, well, it's kind of turned out to be a marathon fish moving to new tank video. Got a half an hour going here, but if you've made it this far for the duration, I appreciate you watching and hope you enjoyed that. And that's it for now. And remember, I'm Jeff, and I enjoy the fishies. Thanks for watching.